Hi guys and welcome back to Concave Gaming. So today we got a very special unboxing and I am unboxing this with you guys live. I've been waiting for this for a very long time actually. Straight from Idaho in US, from Porkchop Express. We have the Mistercade version 2. That's really exciting stuff, guys. So I got the V2 at launch with all the bits and pieces. What is this? Okay, so this comes with the remote board, which was pre-order, I would say, go live special. So Pork basically offered the new version of the remote board for all orders at launch within the first 72 hours, I believe. And it should be 2 RAM sticks, which it is, for dual RAM. And version 2. Amazing, lovely. So just a bit of a long story, guys. So I actually had 2 of these version 1.2s. And in both my cabs, as you know, and you've been watching my channel, I have a horizontal and a tate cab. So I had a Mistercade in both of those cabs, and I basically sold them in anticipation of this one coming out because it's pretty much future-proof. It supports both single and dual RAM, and I wanted to have a dual RAM. At the time when I sold my version 1.2s, there was a really good indication that the Midway stuff is going to come out on Mister, but it needed dual RAM, and that actually didn't eventuate, unfortunately, but you know, it is what it is, and I was waiting very patiently since the end of last year to get the version 2s, which now I have. So let's get this unboxed, let's get the D10 Nano out, and let's put this together. Okay, so I just got these unboxed. First thing I noticed is this was a little bit scratched. Not too much of a big deal, but that's because this was packaged very tightly, so the solder joints and the pins actually scratched the design. So not ideal, but it is what it is. I don't mind too much. And this is actually really nice. So it actually came with a rubberized Jamma edge protector. So I definitely will be able to use that with some of my arcade boards. So that's a welcome inclusion. And obviously we have the 2 RAMs for the dual RAM setup, and we'll install that shortly. And the latest remote board. Now this one is really good because it's got the RCA phono out, and this you can use for light gun games with CRT setups. So I had the previous remote board, which actually didn't have this. This version released a little bit later after I got the original one. So I'm very pleased to get this as well with the package. Okay guys, so before we jump into the menu and the setup, I just want to quickly jump on the Mister Addons website and go over some of the high-level features of a version 2 kit. So obviously it looks very different to a version 1.2, which was black. Obviously the notable difference is that the version 2 does support the single and the dual RAM setup configuration. So it is essentially future-proof, and no further revisions, as far as I understand, will be coming out, apart from the analog to the digital to analog DAC that hasn't been released yet. But if you're looking for a future-proof dual RAM setup for any potential calls that's actually support dual RAM, this is the product to go for. However, that is not the only good reason to actually jump onto the version 2 kit. Obviously, some of the new features is the 24-bit video output support. So some calls, not just arcade, just like I'm using it in my setup, do support 24-bit color mode, which is across the PlayStation, Saturn and Nintendo 64 calls at the moment, which would benefit from this upgrade, which is really, really good. Now there's also that really cool OLED screen that is included in version 1.2. There is also buttons 7 and 8 which are being mapped for player 1 and player 2. So not only you get a Jamma edge, which is the 3 buttons per player, unless using the Jamma or the Jamma Plus. You also have the CPS2 harness, which gives you the player 1, player 2 kick 4, 5 and 6 when you're connecting to a Jamma cab. But you also have these 2 breakouts on top of the version 2, which is new, which give you the buttons 7 and 8 as well as the home button breakouts here. So basically you connect the buttons here to the common ground, and that will also give you access to those additional couple of buttons as well as the other buttons across the Jamma edge and the CPS2 harness. So that's actually really good, and that might benefit some cabinet configurations, or you have external joysticks and things connected to that as well. There is some improvements in terms of the coin counter circuit. So as you guys know, some arcade cabinets have coin counters. My one certainly does. I didn't experience any issues with my Super Neo 29 in the version 1.2 of the Mistercade, but this one supposedly has a better circuit to work with different cabinets and different coin counters. You have integrated breakout header for Mistercade Versus, and obviously the joystick harness. The Mistercade Versus, if you guys are not aware of that, is actually a kit that you purchase in addition to this, that allows 2 cabinets to basically be used together. So for example, you can have this in one arcade cabinet, and you can use the Mistercade Versus to basically connect to the Mistercade as well as the Jamma edge on the second cabinet, so that, for example, the second cabinet can mirror the video and the controls, but also act as a player 3 or 4 controls. So think about having 2 cabinets, 2 players per cabinet, playing Dungeons and Dragons 4-player or something like that, or Vendetta 4-player, for example. That's really cool, right? Or even Ninja Turtles, if that makes sense. Okay, so obviously we spoke about the dual RAM support, and yeah, and aluminum top plate, which is really good as well. It's using the GP2040 firmware with very low latency, just like the previous unit had very low latency as well. That's really good. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much the notable features as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so let's jump into the setup guide, and let's try to cut over from that version 1.2 to version 2 setup on my arcade cabinet. Okay guys, so we're here at my computer. I got the Mistercade V2 unpacked, and I have my D10 Nano here as well. So the intent of this video is to basically get this set up, and you guys can experience this with me in real time. This is not a scratch build from the beginning. I am using a D10 Nano that I've previously had installed in the Mistercade version 1.2 as mentioned before. And all I've done so far is just inserted the 2 RAM modules for the dual RAM setup, and I've already had this heatsink changed from the previous Mistercade kit as well, so I won't be using this. Now let's go through a manual step by step. So it looks like I got all the bits and pieces as per picture here. Okay, we can skip this. I got the new remote as I've showed you guys before, but I won't be installing that at this stage. Okay, so step 1 is obviously, are you a single or a dual RAM user? So I am a dual SDRAM, so switch 3, which is this switch right here, has to be on, and switch 0 has to also be on for the actual Mistercade to work. Okay, so this goes through just the setup initially. It talks about the switch 0, which has to be in the on position here, which I mentioned is there. So let's skip ahead. Okay. So step 1 would be to get the base plate, which is this. Okay, that looks about right. And Okay guys, so it looks like the bottom plate, if we look at the, it's a little bit confusing. So it says to use the 6 longer and 6 shorter. But if we look here, and then these go on top, we skip ahead, we can see that it's these ones on the bottom. So I've done that just with these screws. It doesn't actually say which screw it is, but let's keep them all the same. Actually, that's fine. Okay, let's try that. Okay. So that looks okay. Six longer studs will be used to fasten the detail to the bottom plate. Okay. So I guess it's the longer ones. Okay, let's try that. Okay. Now I got a little bit confused with this bit here. So it says to get the 6 longer and 6 shorter mounting studs, and you know, you look at the picture here, it looks like it's sitting on something, it's attaching to something here, and to tighten it. So that's a little bit confusing. Tighten to what? But if we go look at here, there is obviously a female, and there we go. This is probably the good view, side view here. So this is what we're looking at. Okay, so it's the little female spaces, screw underneath. Same here. These are the longer studs, not the shorter ones. Okay, so the shorter ones we leave aside. Obviously, from the bottom, it's screwed, the digital nano. Okay, so you have the female fall in there. 2 in here, you put the spacer, and you put the longer male females, which is the 12mm, on top here to fasten the D10 nano to the top. Okay, so that was the confusing part. The analog DAC module, that's actually not out yet, so we'll be skipping that. Okay. Now, the other thing to note, all of the dip switches on the Mister CADA are default. So a couple of things to note is I have a Jamma cabinet, so it will be set to Jamma Plus, which is Jamma, to off, which is default. Coin 1 equals coin 2 is off. We can leave that alone. audio and local audio. So if using the Mistercade remote controller that I showed you guys earlier, you put that into remote, but I won't be doing that at the moment, so it will be local. And all that does is basically allows you to use the potentiometer and the amplifier on board to change the volume. Okay, and the VSync is also set to off here. Okay, so everything else should be left alone. All right, so let's keep going through the setup. Line up the top cover plate, screw holes with the mounting studs. Okay, so we actually skipped ahead a little bit, so we have to install the Mistercade on the top here. Right, so let's do that. Okay, which angle are we looking at? Okay, so that's the right angle there. And that's the right position. Okay, that's pretty easy. And we have to line up pins. Okay, that looks okay. So the pins are lined up. Okay, so the pins are there. Okay, and we have the pins lined up here. So that actually went in pretty smoothly if you line it up. Right, so that looks like it's done. Okay, so install the 6 smaller male-female spacers. Okay, that's fine. Okay, this one's a bit stubborn. Okay, 5. Okay, so that looks good. Okay. The audio DAC module, we won't be using that. Let's skip. And the top cover. All right, so the snag port is here, so let's just align it. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. And not quite sure. So there's smaller screws here as well. I'm not quite sure what the smaller ones are for. Okay. Let's try this. them up by hand. Actually, I think this one's at the bottom. Fate. And okay, this will be fine. Okay, that looks good. I'm gonna leave the volume port alone for the time being. Leave it in default. Now the HDMI. Okay, so let's do the HDMI. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. And micro USB ports, which is here. Okay, it's a bit of a tight fit. Okay. It's very tight. Gosh, that's a tight fit. Okay. Yep. Okay. All right, so in theory, that should be correct. So let's have a quick look at the software configuration. So we're gonna skip the initial Mister setup. Okay. So this bit here is actually different to here. So this is the V2 mappings. So according to the website, this is what you put in your downloader.ini, which I've already done. But if you look at the Mister manual, it's actually got extra bits here. So I've copied that already into the downloader.ini, and you don't copy this, it's just this. So when you run update all, it will pull the actual mappings to the Mister setup, which is fine. I don't use the free play, I just like to insert coins, so I did that already. Okay. Fast polling, when you're a first time user, you run this and you enable it. I've already had that from my previous config. Okay. The Mister config files, so if I go here to the Mister version 2 mappings, right? If I go config, all the configs are here. So you can actually manually copy them already. So I've already done that. So if you go to Misteraddons, sorry, got one back, and you go to V2 mappings, and you go code download. Okay, so you can actually download that, and you can copy that onto your config directory on your SD card already. Okay. And this is your orientation in terms of is it horizontal or tate.
So it's Yoko versus Tate. So my one is 15 kilohertz Yoko, which is horizontal. Okay, so already done that. You get it from the website, which is here, V2. And I did him this, and I just copied that across. The INI settings, so the key settings that PorkChop recommends are already inside the INIs, which is fine. Okay, so make sure you copy that across, otherwise you're gonna get a funny resolution. Okay. And okay, one thing is the default all-screen menu is down and start, which is good. That's what I have it configured in previously. Let's see how that goes when I switch it on. And everything else I left default. Okay, so in theory, that should work. So I'm pretty keen to put this in. So what I'll do is I'll eject the SD card from the computer. I will plug it in here, and I'll give it a shot and see how everything works.
Okay guys, so moment of truth. I plugged in my Jamma harness. I haven't wired the kick harness yet because I was actually using a CPS1 kick harness with Mistercade 1.2. So I'll do the CPS2 kick harness a little bit later. I did swap the dial to a silver aluminium one, sorry, a gold aluminium one that I had before. I think that just looks a little bit nicer than the plastic one. And don't forget to take off the plastic film of the LCD. So I had to take off the cover to do that. Plugged in the wireless keyboard, and let's turn it on and hold the breath. Okay, so we got live, and we got something. Controls work, and that's my old configuration. Okay, so let's go favorite CPS2 AVP, why not?
Select your claim.
So, looks like we're in luck, guys. It's working, and that was an easy migration from version 1.2 to version 2. Next thing I'll do is do an update all, and we see how we go, but so far everything looks good. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe. And now that I finally got the Mistercade, I'll be uploading regular arcade footage and content. So leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks, guys.